because, like we said, but you'll see in a second here that 3 eggs are already in the nest. But you'll see also that one eagle is working on the nest. They keep the work up on the nest all during the nesting season. But they start the work on the nest way back in November. And in this part of the country, that's when they start. The male usually brings in the sticks, and the female will arrange them how she wants in building the nest.
And this is a nest that they've had for 3 years, so each year they come back, they're just remodeling or adding to the existing nest.
Right. Some of the eagles far up north in Canada and Alaska, they'll start their nest building in September of the previous year, because then when it gets very cold, they're not out there actually in the nest, they're at the feeding grounds.
Okay.
And then when they come back, they continue the remodeling.
And this does have 3 eggs, and is that a usual brood, or?
It's on the high side. Usually
Okay.
the eagles will lay 1 or 2 eggs, and occasionally they'll lay 3 eggs. And we're lucky this year we got 3 here at NCTC.
We've got triplets.
We've got triplets.
And I think in this scene they've just gotten off the nest, because we've had one that's just hatched.
Yeah, what you can see is both the eagles were backing up looking at the eggs, because the one that was sitting on it could feel something happening, and it backed up. And if you look closely to the left side, you'll see one little head sticking up out of an eggshell, and it's moving around a little bit. So this is the first egg that was hatched here this year. And it's obvious that both of them know what's going on. You can see the way they look like proud parents looking at the egg. They'll start feeding them right away.
Okay.
Once I think we'll probably be able to see here in just a second. Once the egg hatches, they'll start feeding the young right away.
And I know if they pay close attention, they'll notice that when they're walking around the eggs or the eaglets, they actually curl in their talons and are walking sort of on balls.
Right. Their talons are very sharp, and if they didn't do that, they might puncture the egg or hurt the young. So they close their feet up when they walk around. You'll see here also this female is rocking back and forth. And what was happening there was she was trying to get the eggs up close to her body. They actually pull some of their downy feathers out of their chest portion so that they can get their warm skin right up against that egg. And that's what she was doing. She was rocking back and forth to make sure those eggs got into the warm spot.
And that's what they call the brood patch.
That's what's called a brood patch.
That's great. So here she is. She's on it. She's been rocking.
I believe this is where we're going to have the second egg hatch. You can see again, she realizes something's going on underneath and stands up and gets out of the way so that young eaglet can hatch out of that egg. And if you watch closely, you'll be able to see 2 heads this time. Signing that, there's grasses. That's the sort of thing that they'll have in the interior of the nest. I think what we're going to see here in just a second is actually the 3rd egg hatching.
Okay.
And again, you can see she obviously knows something's going on and backs up off of the eggs.
Gives her wings a little stretch
there. If you watch real close, I think you'll be able to see the 3rd head pop up. These were actually taken about 5 days apart, because the eggs were laid about 5 days apart.
Okay.
So they didn't hatch this close together. It's just the video footage.
And the eggs were laid in February and hatched in mid-March.
35 days later. And now you can see all 3 little baby eaglets in there. Look at the size of them compared to what we were just looking at with the live.
What perfect habitat this is, located along the Potomac River, that will probably help the eaglets, because there'll be plenty of food.
Right. To have 3 eaglets in a nest, that's going to be a lot of food they're going to need. And being along the river, the eagles prefer fish as a food. So they usually nest within about a 1/4 mile of a river or a lake or the ocean, so that they have plenty of food supply. But they'll also eat other things too. I think we'll see a little bit later here that they'll bring in squirrels or rabbits or anything else small animals that they can catch.